Cornel West. I was born June 2nd, 1953 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I was born into a Christian family. I was raised in Sacramento, California by my father, who was a defense contractor, and my mother, who was a teacher as well as a principal. I attended John F. Kennedy High School. I was also class president and led many civil rights marches inspired by Malcolm X. I then went on to go to, I was then a student at Harvard, where I graduated with magna cum laude, which is very good. I then studied at Princeton University, where I earned my PhD. At Princeton, I focused on philosophies based off of African American Baptist churches, Marxism, pragmatism, and transcendentalism. While I was here, I also published a book called The Ethic Dimensions of Marxism Thought.
After my education, I returned to Harvard in my mid-20s, where I became a lecturer in various classes. I then moved on, becoming an assistant professor at Union Theological Seminary, which was located in New York City. After that, I became a history professor at Yale in 1984. During my time here, I participated in many on-campus protests that went against South Africa, and as a result, I was denied my 2-year leave of absence, where I wanted to teach in Paris, and instead I ended up teaching 2 more classes at Yale. In 1988, I became a professor at Princeton, and during my time here, I published my vast collection of essays, which became the bestseller, Race Matters, and I sold over 400,000 copies of this. In 1994, I returned to Harvard as an actual professor for the next 4 years, where I would teach African American Studies. I was then appointed the university professor, where all of my works or teachings had to be directly reported to the president of Harvard. Unfortunately, the president thought that I wasn't focusing on in-class material as much as I was outside activities, and this upset me, so I moved back to Princeton, and to this day, this is where I am a professor. I'm also very involved in entertainment. In 2003, I was asked to act in both The Matrix Reloaded and The Matrix Revelation. And I'm also very into hip-hop, and I actually recorded multiple albums myself, and there was a band named the Cornel West Theory after me.
Alright, like Troy said, I was born in 1953, which is about 10 years before the real peak of the civil rights movement. And during this time, America was very harsh towards African Americans in denying them their rights. And this was also around the peak of postmodernism, so I can be seen as a postmodernist. When I was in 3rd grade, which is around 1961, I was expelled from my elementary school after I punched my pregnant teacher in the stomach after she forced me to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I did not want to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance because I did not like what America was doing towards African Americans. Although at this time I was too young to fully understand what was the root of this cause of injustice, as I got older I came to realize that it was mostly economics. I am the author of Philosophical Thought in a Postmodern World, and in this book I explain how mostly corporate greed, but also just capitalism, has caused the lack of community, justice, and just overall love for one's neighbor. I am a member of the Democratic Socialists of America, which basically they want the government to control the vast majority of business, infrastructure, and corporation, so that most people are taken care of. The rich have really high taxes so that the poor can have benefits, housing, education, and everything kind of comes together. I have been arrested twice because I was big involved in the Occupy Wall Street movement, because I'm against corporate greed, and I wanted to see the 99% have a larger say in everything, the government and corporate America. And lastly, something else that proves my postmodernism is that I disapprove of many African American leaders because I believe they're sellouts, and some of these people include Reverend Al Sharpton and President Barack Obama. And I think President Obama is a Rockefeller Republican, and I think Al Sharpton is a sellout. This is because they both support corporate America, and they do this, and at the same time, there's a big difference between really rich people in America and really poor people in America, and the vast majority of the people who are down here are poor African Americans and other minorities. And I think people like Al Sharpton, who is a civil rights leader, and is always, whenever something happens to the African American community, is always like front and center. I think he kind of takes advantage of the black community for money, as he gets paid to do talk shows and stuff like that about issues in the black community. And Barack Obama has not done enough to really protect the African American community, but instead focused on the black community. So I see problems rooting from the economy, and especially how white people control the capitalist economy, and that makes me postmodernist.
Well, my name is Cornel West, and my main school of learning in the philosophical department is axiology. And what that means is basically I see that there is a whole bigger meaning to living, I guess you could say. And one of the main parts of this axiology is the theory on human nature, also called ethics. The main thing I feel about ethics is that humans have the ability to love, care, and serve each other. To be human is to suffer, shudder, and struggle courageously in the face of inevitable death. The human attribute of processing information and using it wisely, getting all the information, being able to decide what to do, and understanding our own mortality as humans to pursue whatever life may bring us. I believe that humans have no boundaries for reaching their potential. No, the sky's the limit for us. And I believe that the African American struggle gives credence to this claim. And I also feel too that the best course of government would be socialism. While we live in a democratic society, I feel that too often poor people and people at the bottom 99% get taken advantage of. So basically, you have this 1% that is this group of bullies, and you have 99% who are just these regular people who are being taken advantage of. And that is why I am a socialist, which means I want everybody to be equal. And what differs between me and Marx, however, is that I believe in God. Karl Marx, the creator of socialism, did not believe in any sort of religion. I think that all of us are children of God, and we should all love each other as God intended. So that is the main aspect of my theory on human nature.
Although I'm very, very smart, I still like to enjoy things like art and music. This is called aesthetics. I may be a teacher at a school for geniuses, but believe it or not, I'm also a rapper. In fact, my brother and I have released multiple albums, even as recently as 2007. I also work with famous guys, and they make music with me. But I don't make rap music like most people. I don't brag about big guns, kissing lots of women, or smoking bad things. I use my music to teach lessons to my audience, just like I do in the classroom. The reason I do this is to try to speak to a group of people that would not normally listen to me. Usually only smart grown-ups listen to me. However, rap music and music in general is important because kids listen to it. If I can put good messages in my music, like loving your neighbor and being good at sharing, then the kids will listen to it and learn how to be nice. Besides music, I also enjoy movies, especially ones with a deeper meaning. My favorite movie is The Matrix. In this movie, the good guys are fighting against the bad guys in a computer world. The good guys represent free will, which means that you can make the choices that you want. The evil guys are trying to control our actions. I love this movie so much that I was an actor in the 2 sequels. As a postmodern philosopher, I realize that people have fun in different ways. Not everybody reads a newspaper or watches grown-up TV shows. I use fun stuff like music and movies with lots of cool fighting scenes to teach people the way that I believe is right.